Hello everyone, welcome. This is the moon phase reading for the full moon of April 11th to the new moon of April 26th. Getting this out a few days late, so I do apologize for that. Remember, this reading is for that period of time, so that will basically mean in this particular situation we're looking to pull inward, we're looking to see what worked or didn't work for the previous session of new moon to full moon. And we're kind of getting set up and ready for the new moon on April 26th, which will be a time to plant new seeds, begin new projects, and move forward, that we want to see kind of come to a new stage of growth by the next full moon. Okay, so a couple things before we get started. I want to kind of go over the overview of the last lunar reading, talk about the overarching reading that I did that runs from the spring equinox to Beltane on May 1st, and where this sits sort of in that layering of everything. So our previous reading, which was the new moon to full moon, had a lot of really deep spring energy about rebirth, about Six of Wands and the success, moving forward in victory. And then we had a little thing with the Glanconer talking about, being careful of delusions and being careful of sort of a little bit of deception because we're so happy we may not see it. Now, previous to this, I did the reading from spring equinox to Beltane. And this reading falls into that, as did the previous reading. On that reading, which you can go back and look at in that video, the general sense was kind of taking it easy and relaxing, and that victory was coming around Beltane, and it was the Six of Wands card. And there was an energy of kind of being ready for what's coming up on Beltane. Now, as I was shuffling the deck for this reading, this card fell out and totally volunteered itself for the reading. So that'll be the third time the Six of Wands card has come up in my readings since I did the spring equinox reading back in March. So that's something we just have to pay attention to. This is a really good card. It talks about victory, success, being a leader, moving forward, projects coming to fruition. So as we get closer to Beltane, I think this needs to be thought of as we move on. It's a powerful energy going on there. Now I have done 2 cards from the Druidcraft. These are somewhat linear, so this is the first part of the full moon going to new moon, and then this is the second part as we get closer to the new moon. And this is the Fairies Oracle card that I like to pull, that kind of talk about how the elementals and the Fae and all those guys would like, something they would like for us to know. I think that's it. Oh, yeah, 2 other things we need to be aware of. Almost forgot. So currently we are in the middle of a Mercury retrograde, and, look, if you don't know what that means, look it up. Basically, it means don't start any sort of new projects. Be very careful. Communication tends to get gnarled and messed up and entangled, and there's lots of miscommunication. There's computer problems. There can be transportation problems. Don't start any new projects during this period of time. This is a time to review, to think, to reset. Now, in that, we're also in the full moon to new moon phase, so it kind of like doubles up on that energy, right? So be aware of that. All about reviewing, resetting, cleaning out, throwing out old things, being, not moving forward, but kind of stepping back and thinking about it. So, okay, I've said enough about that. In 4 days, maybe closer to 2 or 3 by the time this video gets out, on April 15th, Venus, which has been in retrograde, will begin to go direct. So a lot of these things involving passion in the heart and the things you love, things that might have been distractions before, things that you might have been really impassioned about, they may lose some luster and fade, and the real thing will start to come forward, and you'll start to see some forward movement there in the middle of a Mercury retrograde. So, and that ends on May 3rd, which is just after Beltane, right? So we're getting this crazy, like everything's going to go direct right after Beltane, right? So I think that all plays in together. All right, let's get into the reading. Enough enough prologue, right? So in the first part of our full moon to new moon reading, we have, turn this over, the Queen of Swords. Another thing I forgot to mention, I have already drawn these cards. I did them with the dowsing rods. Just that on top of all the preliminary stuff would have taken up way too much time for this reading. So we have the Queen of Swords, which as a person, if this was to represent a person, it's all about like a female with like really razor sharp wit, mature, cuts to the quick of problems, makes quick decisions, maybe thinks fast, works fast, maybe considered a little cold or uncaring, but only because she just cuts to the facts and moves on, right? As sort of an energy, you kind of have to carry that energy over. It's not really a person. Since we're talking about a period of time, this is a time for analysis, for thought over emotion. We've seen this before in several of the readings where the cards are really telling us to like look at things and be analytical. Given the fact that this is full moon to new moon, I would say this is all about being very caring and understanding. This is a feminine card. This is a yin card, but with using the razor of your intellect on that. But we're going to pause it because I know what this one is. This one, as we get into the later parts, we get closer to Beltane, things are going to get a little foggy. Things are going to get a little confusing. This is the moon card. Sorry, I'll show this off. Okay, and the moon card is all about delusion, but it's also about creativity. It's all about imagination, but it's sometimes really easy to get lost in that sort of murky atmosphere of, you know, the path through a dream can sometimes be really hard to follow. This is also about facing your fear, okay? And what I'm getting from all of this, including the reading before, with the lunar phases and the overarching when we have them coming up on Beltane, is that this is about facing, like you may be called to be a leader. You may be being called to like use your intellect more instead of your emotions or your intuition. But things are coming into play. There's a lot of success energy. There's a lot of rebirth energy happening that's kind of has been spilling over and coming forward as we come to Beltane. The earth energy is really starting to pound and rise. And that can bring up, especially if you're getting called to be a leader and you're getting pushed out of your comfort zone. This card talks about facing your fear and walking between the wolf and the dog, and walking your path to the gate of the high priestess, which is an understanding of the mysteries, an understanding of that creativity and that magical influence. And that inner part of yourself. So this is about facing fears. It's about cutting through any sort of confusion or fogginess or murkiness and staying on your path and facing your fears and moving through that. So as the energies begin to get a little bit more crazy at the new moon, this is a time to really be ready to face some fear. Use your intellect to cut through and make good, clean decisions. Okay? Now, the Fae have to say the following to this, and this all interconnects really nicely. We have the Piper card. This card reminds us that we need to have, the Piper is all about harmony, peacefulness, tranquility, using body language instead of words, using music instead of words to communicate. It's about gentleness. It's about feeling that connection or hearing that music or hearing that sort of spirit song to ground, to settle yourself down and move through this situation. That this, basically what they're saying is that this situation can be moved through with clarity and peacefulness and harmony, but you have to listen. You have to listen to the music, okay? You have to listen to what the quiet, peaceful part of yourself is telling you. And pay attention to what others may be doing without talking about it. Actions speak louder than words, right? So, I think that's about it. I think that's, nothing else is really popping. I noticed that she's facing towards this murkiness, like you're getting ready, you're clearing out your thoughts, you're clearing out any sort of murkiness to your thoughts, and very peacefully moving up this path through your fears towards Beltane. Okay, because Beltane's only going to be 4 days after this reading is over. Then I'll have a new one ready for the new moon, and we'll be going into Beltane. The new moon is a time to plant seeds. Beltane is basically high, crazy spring energy. So we're looking at a period of time, especially right after Beltane, when Venus will already be direct, and Mercury will begin to go direct on the 3rd of May. So, yeah, this energy is really starting to rise and move pretty fast. It's going to cause some unsteadiness. Okay, I think that's it. If you like this, please hit me with a like. Subscribe if this is your first time checking out my readings. And hit me up with a comment if you have any questions about this. If you have any other things you see, please speak up. As we head towards Beltane, I think it's going to be good to communicate and everybody can kind of talk about this. There'll be the next reading I'll definitely have hopefully a few days ahead of time. There'll be a few more vids coming up here soon. Some changes to the channel. I think you'll like them, as well as a little announcement, so a little sneaky hint there. And more of that all coming up in the next few days, I hope. Hopefully by the end of the week. Yeah, I hope you're doing well. I hope the full moon has treated you well. And yeah, peace and strength, everybody. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.